Hey, guess who it is again? We're at the Crystal Clear Point Studios. Deborah Colleen Rose and Luann Morris, and she is Herbal Lou, our herbal lady, our essential oil lady, our resident witch, potion maker, love potion drinker. You name it, she does it. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, I want to talk about that pesky little weed called the dandelion.
Ooh, how
Uh,
to get rid of it? You're going to tell us how to get rid of it?
nope, I am not. That's all on you. But the genus and the species, Pteriaxicum officinale. It's chock full of vitamins A, B, C, D. There's lots of minerals like iron, potassium, and zinc. You can add the leaves to salads, sandwiches. You can make teas out of the leaves and the roots. Sometimes the roots are actually roasted and made
Oh,
into a coffee substitute.
so
And
you
it's,
can have dandelion tea and dandelion coffee.
well, it is a coffee because if you roast it, then it kind of has that flavor of coffee. It's not a
Yeah.
true, it's not a true flavor, but you know,
Neither is chicory, but it's real popular. And
yes, yes,
people
it is.
started drinking that because they were too poor to get coffee.
Well, that's right. And I have seen the chicory and the dandelion root together.
Oh, make me some.
That's not happening today.
Well, she treats me. She gets me all excited. I get all enthused. And then she's like, boom.
And then if you collect enough flowers, you can make dandelion wine.
Now I'm all for that.
Yeah. It's a complicated process making a wine, but you start off with the yeast, sugar, water, and the dandelion flowers.
Is that the same way for elderberry too when you make elderberry wine?
Uh, the elderberry wine is even more complicated, and it depends if you're going to start with the flowers or the fruit.
No. So you can use both.
Because, yeah, I'm not sure. The dandelion flowers, I mean, the elderberry flowers, the wine, it's more of a liqueur that you make with them. And it still has kind of a little astringency to it because the flowers are astringent. So if you want something sweet and fruity, I would definitely go with the berries.
Or could you just add sugar?
Well, you're going to add sugar,
See,
but
she's got me all wound up because if you could see my shirt, it says I drink and
and
I
I
know
know
things.
things.
So she's talking about drinking. So
Yes, drinking. Let's see if I can. I'm sure that everybody knows what a dandelion looks like, but I thought I would put up a picture. Maybe.
but this is before it goes to seed, right? When before it goes fluffy.
Right. That's when you can no longer control come on now.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll tell you a cute story. Scarlett, my granddaughter, and I used to walk a lot when she was little, and we would pick up our treasures, and we would pick up feathers and rocks and all kinds of things. And her big thing was fluffy dandelions. When they'd gone to seed, and she'd pick
Right.
them, and she'd want to blow them. I'm like, honey, don't blow those because it make more weeds, and people get mad. And she goes, these are not weeds. Anyone can see, May. This is God's confetti.
God's confetti. Now I like that.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, I like that. Now let's see, how do I share this? I'm going to share this.
Oops, look at we can see your lips on my face. That's hilarious. All right, you're
Oh,
doing it. You're doing it. Yay.
okay, great. So that's the dandelion, and you can find it anywhere. The point is though, if you treat your yard with any kind of pesticides or you have animals in your backyard on a constant basis, you probably don't want to choose the dandelion in your backyard. You need I actually have a little information on cultivating it yourself. But If I
I
was
just
going to
got
use it,
I got a vision of a raised flower bed for gardening full of dandelions.
well, the dandelion is quite innocuous the way it is. You know, when you're just seeing the leaves and the flowers, it's kind of all of what you want. So, it's common. It's in the grasslands. It's in cultivated grounds. It's native to Europe, but it's naturalized in all of North America, or the northern hemisphere, I should say. It's also called lion's tooth, priest's crown, swine's snout, which I find
Ah,
hilarious.
you
And
have to wonder.
let's see, what is the next thing?
I like the lion's
Oh,
tooth though.
damn that pesky weed. I've heard that. Have you heard that? Damn that pesky weed. So it's very hardy, and it can grow as tall as 12 inches. But I've never seen that in the yard because it's usually not as fertilized or well taken care of in our yard because we're trying to get it out of our yard.
Well, I was
So,
going to say, if we didn't have such cultivated lawns, this would really be a beautiful plant, don't you think? I mean, it's really pretty.
and it can be. So it is, the leaves are deeply notched, toothy. They're kind of spatula like. They're shiny and they're hairless. The
Ooh.
stems are what gets the tallest. It's not really the leaves that get tall or big. It's the stem that can grow tall. And they're capped with the flowers, of course. But the flowers open in the morning with the sun and they close in the evening, or they close if there's gloomy weather during the day. But if
I didn't
you
know
don't,
that.
yeah, they're very connected to the sun. That's why a lot of people consider it, the metaphysical people consider it a sun, lo- you know, associated with sun magic. But if you want the flowers, you should pick them first thing in the morning when they open,
Why? What difference does it make if it's open or closed?
because if the flower is open, it's easier to pick because you can just scoop your hand under and let and then pull. And if you leave it until nighttime, by the time you remember the next day, it's going to be poofy.
Oh, wow.
You like that description, poofy?
Yeah. Yeah. Confetti.
Okay.
God's confetti.
Yeah. So let me see if I can share this with you. I've got too many windows open now. This is crazy. Okay.
Well, take your time. You know what? We're not in any hurry. If people want to skim through this, they can fast forward the video. You
Okay.
know,
Well, we'll let them fast forward then. I just need to find where to share it. That's not it.
I mean, we're not professional movie makers. I don't think
We're
anybody
not?
knew.
Oh,
I don't think people realize that. So let me just make this clear to you people. We're not professional movie people. We don't have a professional studio. This is my converted garage. Get over it.
yeah, they might. Oh, crap. Hang on.
My eye itches.
You are sharing a screen. Okay, stop sharing. I'm going to stop sharing so I can now share this other picture because you will recognize this.
Uh-oh. You said you weren't going to show that picture. No.
So on the left is
Oh,
the nice, pretty yellow flower, and it closes at night. So when you get up in the morning, it's going to look like it does on the right, which are the seeds.
so
A
it
lot,
doesn't take it long to go to seed.
no, it's quick. It is a quick life. It is a 1 day life for the flowers. That's why if you're trying to collect flowers, either to make medicine or to make wine, you need to pick them first thing in the morning. Because by
Oh,
the following morning, they will look like the seed pod on the right.
yeah, that is
Especially,
pretty.
yeah. And if you're trying to get rid of it in your yard, you should always pick the flowers, even if you can't mow, because then the next day they're all going to be seeds and blowing around your yard and planting
Got
in
it.
other places you don't want them.
Got it.
So that will be a fun thing. Yes. Okay. Where is my notes? My notes are here. And so
TikTok's making my nose run.
the dark brown roots are fleshy and brittle. So if you want to dig up the roots, you really need to loosen the soil with a spade or a shovel so you can shake the dirt off and then wash it. So you could wash the plant, but then you need to make sure that it dries because you don't want it to remain moist, because then it can cause mold, mildew, and just cause it to be limp. But so just put it out on the counter, or put it on a towel, or put it on some paper towels and let it dry out. And then it'll be easier to utilize the parts, especially if you want to use the roots, the leaves, and the flower. But should you actually want to grow your own crop, you need to sow the seeds on the soil surface or slightly covered. It needs to be early spring, because 4 to 6 weeks after the last frost, because they grow through the summer. But you should see flowers, or the plant should germinate in 10 days, especially if it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. You space the plants out 6 to 9 inches apart because you want to give it the best growth you can when you're trying to grow something for for medicinal uses. And really, the only thing you're doing by growing it in a raised bed, you're making sure that there's been no contamination from animals or pesticides. And that's the whole point. You don't want
It
to.
might seem silly to grow this yourself, but even if you don't do like a lot of herbology things, or if you're not going to make your own wine, this is really a great green for a salad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You can use it for a salad. You can combine it with other things. Radish seeds, if you grow them, you can eat them too. So, the little radish plants, before they get too many leaves on them, and the dandelions, and there's some other, what do they call that? A spring mix?
Yeah. Well, if you look at the spring mix in the grocery store, they look like dandelion leaves. They do,
There's probably some in there. Dandelion, and there's some other lettuce type plants that go in a spring mix. So with enough heat and moisture, they will be succulent, tasty plants. If they don't have a lot of moisture, if you don't cultivate them and raise them, then what happens is they don't get as much moisture because you're not watering them as much. You want them to die. So they'll be really crowded together, and they'll be they're really drought tolerant. But if you're cultivating it, you're trying to cultivate it for the best plant you can. And that's why you need to make sure that you have no pesticides, no animals, no freezes. I mean, they can tolerate freeze and frost, but not when you're trying to raise them for a crop, or a crop for your use, shall I say.
I guarantee you, if I was trying to grow these, they would not grow. Now, they grow beautifully in my yard because we don't use a lot of chemicals in the yard, because I like my geckos and I don't like disturbing my geckos.
Well, just remember that once they go to seed, you're going to have billions of times more, and so are your neighbors.
So I just need to get some toddlers over here and go, oh, babies, let's look for the yellow flowers and pick them.
There you go. There you go. So the crop should be ready in 85 to 95 days. So as soon as you see those first flowers bloom, pick them. You may want the plants to get a little bigger. I'll leave that up to you. But at 85 to 95 days, you could extract the whole plant. The point is you don't want it to go to seed, because then you will have a problem.
Can you dry the leaves and use it for cooking later on, or?
Yes. Yes.
So,
As a matter of fact, if you're trying to collect the flowers, I would just pull the flowers off and then continue to pull flowers off until you get the amount of flowers that you want. Then pull the whole plant.
got it.
That would be just check your local regulations. I did find out there are places where it is illegal to grow dandelions.
What?
Yes. Pueblo, Colorado, you will be fined if you try to grow dandelions.
No, you're lying.
I am not.
Why?
If you cultivate dandelions in Pueblo, Colorado, they cannot control the fact that they grow in the grass. But if you're cultivating them in a box, that's considered sowing a crop. And to sow dandelions as a crop is illegal in Pueblo, California.
Why? Who was
Colorado.
smoking that day when they passed that law? Seriously.
I'm sure they were smoking
They got
something.
too much dirt from the marijuana plants. We don't want that going on. Let's make that illegal.
Well,
Hey,
I'm sure that they were smoking something.
they had to be either that or they had something stuck up their butt. Oh my God. You know, dandelions kill off the mushroom crop. We can't have that.
I'm not sure they're concerned with mushrooms. They're concerned with the cannabis that
Oh,
they're trying to
God. Can people be any more dumb? I mean, seriously.
grow. So,
You know, we're gonna have
let's
to do
talk. Okay,
wait a
so
minute,
let's.
wait a minute, let me just say this one thing, then I'll shut up. I promise. We're gonna have to do a series on stupid laws in this country. Seriously, the ones that are still on the books, you know, the ones that are not enforceable, and why we even have them. And then this is why I always laugh when people call for us to have more laws in the books, because we can't even enforce the ones we have, and they're stupid. All right, I'll stop. Go on now.
Well,
Sorry.
you're right, because these are laws that served a purpose at the time, but now they no longer serve a purpose, and no one tries to go back and have it removed. They just think, well, we'll just ignore that one.
They need an etch a sketch and just shake it up and go, okay, we're done with that.
I'm sure there's some protocol somewhere for removing it.
It's called voting.
Yeah, well, whatever. So let's talk about some medicinal uses and indications of why you want to eat, and or you can make a tea. You know, if you collected the dandelion leaves and you wanted to dry them, you can make a tea from the dandelion leaves. You can also chop up the leaves and the roots together to make the tea. But I think that the roots might be better roasted and like made into a coffee. So they're highly nutritious.
Do you have some? Do you have some that you can make later?
I might.
I want to try it. We could all open up a coffee shop and do that.
I did the coffee shop thing once. I'm not sure I want to do it again.
But did you do it with all these obscure things?
No, I did not.
See, I'm telling you, people would do that right now. We would make a fortune.
Okay, so dandelions are filled with vitamins, minerals, and fiber. They can be cooked or raw. They're an excellent source of A, C, and K. K is potassium. They also contain vitamin E, folate, and small amounts of other B vitamins. They provide a substantial amount of several minerals, including iron, calcium, magnesium, and potassium. Like I said, potassium is the vitamin K. The root of the dandelion is rich in carbohydrates. The carbohydrate is called inulin, INULIN. It's a soluble fiber found in plants that supports growth and maintenance of healthy gut bacteria. So it would be like if you're feeding your gut bacteria, which is probiotics, this would be like a prebiotic. This inulin in the carbohydrate, the root, feeds the probiotics. Did you get
So
that
we have
right?
a prebiotic in it. We also have a multivitamin in it.
Uh-huh.
We have multiple minerals in it.
And it contains antioxidants. It's full of potent antioxidants. Antioxidants help to neutralize free radicals. Free radicals are something we're always fighting against because they can go into a cell and cause it to go haywire and produce a mutant, which could be cancerous. Not always, but could be. So we're constantly fighting or wanting antioxidants in our diet to fight those free radicals.
And doesn't it like do a liver cleansing process?
I'm sure it does. We're going down.
I'm sorry.
I
My
mean, I
brain's
know.
just crazy.
So antioxidants are crucial for keeping your body healthy. And because they have high levels, they also have beta carotene, which is an antioxidant. They make a great tea or make something that you can add to. If you have a tea that you like, I would add like a tablespoon of this in the tea that you like. Just remember that if you have the loose leaves, you need to put it in a little container to hold the leaves. Either that or you've got to strain it after you steep it. So dandelion is also thought to lower blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
Now, all the things I'm talking about today that have been used by healers and herbalists for thousands of years, and most of this has not been proven scientifically because they don't do the proper scientific studies that are needed to say this is proof. So most of what I'm talking about has been used in traditional herbal medicine and passed on from, herbalist to herbalist or healer to healer.
Let me interrupt you. I'm being serious right now. So let me just interrupt you for a minute. I think it's really important for people to think about the process of when we talk about something's been tested or it's not, okay? Just because it's not been tested by an approved agency or a scientific organization does not mean that it has not had proven results. And the flip side of that is that we have a lot of pharmaceuticals that doctors prescribed that have not been tested. For instance, we give children and teenagers pharmaceuticals for mental health issues, and they have never been tested on that age group. Never, never.
The only way you know that they've had the proper testing is if they've been approved by the FDA.
Right. And they have not tested so many things that are on the market, though.
Right.
I mean, they're just throwing things out there willy-nilly.
Well, the FDA at this time is not controlling herbals. They're just going on ancient history and the use of the herbs in ancient history by, medicine men and healers, herbalists, those proven things that they've used time and time again.
And we don't want the FDA, or I don't personally want the FDA controlling this because they'll come in and regulate it.
Yeah, I think they will make a colossal mess out of it. That's what they will.
Yeah, they will. On one hand, there might be some quality control, but the other hand, it will drive the prices up. It will keep people from wanting to experiment and find their own resources, because I do believe that we know our bodies better than anybody else. And if we truly listen to our bodies, it will tell us what to do.
And then, a good example is that I take ashwagandha, and I had a friend who I told her the results and she wanted to try it. Well, it upset her stomach so bad she couldn't take it. So each individual is different, and it's different, even the amount that you take. I can take
and it could have been the brand she took too. Did she try 4 or 5? I say try 4 or 5 brands before you figure out which one's the best for you, because we don't have the quality control, and that is a problem. but
Yes, you
it's
should.
worth that sacrifice so that we have the ability to find things that we need, you know.
If there's a brand of herbals that you trust, I would stick with that.
I
And
drink.
there, I drink, therefore I am. Okay, so in traditional medicine, it lowers the blood pressure. Why? Because it's a diuretic. It has that diuretic effect and can help detoxify certain organs.
I did
Um,
not know that either.
it helps you get rid of excess fluid. That means it's diuretic. And by taking the excess fluid out of your bloodstream, it reduces your blood pressure. So there was one study, it was really old, of 17 people. That's not really a study. That that
That's just a party.
yeah, it contained because it contains potassium. This mineral is always associated with reducing blood pressure in those with previously elevated levels. So any plant that is potassium rich can do the same thing. So if
So what
you
else is potassium rich?
spinach, um parsley. My mother came to visit me, I guess it's been 2 years now, and her leg was swollen so big. I gave her parsley tea, and she didn't stop going to the bathroom until nighttime, and her leg was reduced significantly by the time she
Wow.
went to bed. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get it done quickly so she didn't have to, and she said it was painful. So that's what I was trying to do.
Right, right.
So there's also research that indicates that it might aid in weight loss. Now, don't go crazy, because anytime somebody says it's going to help you lose weight, what do? Go out and buy 5 pounds or whatever. So it's not conclusive, just like anything else. When they do the research, they're not doing it scientifically. So they say they give it to half the people and don't give it to the other half of the people. But how are they regulating it? Well, unless it's done in a particular manner, you can't say it's absolute.
Yeah, but let's walk through this, okay? So if dandelion helps with regulating blood flow and it's
Mhm.
a diuretic and things like that, then it would make sense that it's going to affect your sugar levels and your
Right.
insulin levels.
But
Well,
this suggests that the chlorogenic acid that's found in the diuretic helps fight fat, helps fight the to reduce decreases fat accumulation.
so see where I was going with that is that they say that new drug Ozempic that helps with diabetes
Right.
also helps with weight loss. So I
Right.
was kind of going in that direction, like, well, if it helps with your blood pressure and it helps with insulin levels, it's going to help with weight loss, much like the Ozempic does, probably.
Well, the theory is that with altered levels of certain proteins that are associated with your weight, that's what happens. It alters those hormones, those compounds, the chlorogenic acid does. It alters those hormones that are involved in making you feel hungry or making you feel full.
I don't know why I'm just so fascinated with dandelions, though. They're just first of all, they're a happy looking plant.
Yes. Yes. Yes, it's that beautiful yellow flower that just and they will spring up anywhere, and you think, wow, they have great determination, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Not holding them down.
there's also an thought that it can boost the immune health like elderberries do. It's very high in antimicrobial and antiviral properties, so it can help your body to fight infection. They've done some test tube studies, which probably are not very helpful, but it's mostly helpful that it's been used for that in the past. It could even be used in ointments and creams on the outside of your skin. So these are just, it's very, when I do my research, it's very disconcerting to read that, yes, we believe it can do this because this is what they've been using it for centuries, but we can't prove it. So there's no scientific evidence.
Because they
So
just
it's
don't take
like,
the time.
so it's like you've got to have scientific evidence nowadays, even though you know it works. I guess so. So, but the problem with scientists is they're involved so much with other medications and other proving other things that they're not using a lot of their energy and time on herbals. I mean, digitalis was extracted from the, oh yeah, just left my brain.
Digitalis, isn't that a hair tonic?
No, digitalis is help with the heart, to open up the
Oh,
blood vessels of the heart.
I swear to God, there's a hair tonic named Digitalis.
No, I don't, I think you're incorrect on that. I think it's vitalis.
Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah. But that particular digitalis was first discovered, I think it's foxglove, was discovered in the foxglove. And so they extracted the digitalis and then they perfected it to be a synthetic instead of directly from the plant.
Well, didn't all of our drugs start out as being essence of something, and then they learned to reproduce it synthetically so they wouldn't have to spend so much time and effort growing the
Yes,
natural?
it was
I
to
mean,
preserve, it was to preserve the plant so the plants are not picked picked to extinction. There isn't a list of plants that are on an extinction list.
right. Well,
Yeah,
sandalwood is so hard to get now. Really
yeah.
good Indian sandalwood.
Well, white sage is being overpicked.
And
And so,
roses, as much as we grow roses, essence of rose is expensive as all get out
yes,
because you can't get the really pure rose essence,
that's
you
right.
know. Here
Because
I am squeezing.
they grow roses nowadays for their beauty, not for their
Right.
uh, some of the most beautiful flowers have no roses have no smell to them.
I know. I got some the other day and I
So
didn't have
that
it.
has been genetically engineered out of them.
So what's and you and I, have touched on this in private conversations, but what's really interesting is that you every once in a while you'll hear these articles, and you and I coming from the metaphysical community and the healing community and the crazy community and all the other ones that we belong to, is that you'll see these articles come out like once a year. Doctors have found that positive energy helps with healing, and things like that. Like it's all something brand new, and we've been laying on hands for centuries,
Mhm.
and what is prayer but nothing more than putting our faith in words and things of that nature. So it it just kind of surprises me that they're so resistant to exploring all those avenues. If they
Well,
were really
you realize
they
there's a
would
lot of
embrace that.
hospitals now. There's a lot of hospitals that are training nurses in Reiki.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, there are hospitals, especially those who are into using both Eastern and Western medicine.
That's
They're
great.
training their nurses in Reiki to help with pain management.
Well, and then like our service dogs that they're taking to the hospitals now because they know that touch is healing and warmth is healing and
Mhm.
compassion and all the wonderful soft feelings we get from our animals, that's healing. It's just too bad that
Exactly.
people don't give that off more often. You're thinking, well, if their family was doing a good job, they wouldn't need that damn dog. But
Well, I have a friend that buys some of my products, and he came by one day to pick his up, and he says, "I'm just so stressed out." And I said, "Well, you're a person that needs touch. Is there anyone giving you that positive touch at home?" And he was like, "Well, no." So I did a little Reiki session for him, and he said it felt better. So
well,
it
that's
is.
hugging is so important, and I'm not good at hugging. I'll be the first to admit it. I had to learn how to hug. And now I give great hugs, but I don't do it willingly very often. I have to, I'm just being honest.
We have to force her into it. Force. It has to be a force. Reckon with. Okay, so we're going to move along now to healthy digestion and treating constipation.
Ooh.
So, it's said to increase the rate of stomach contractions and stomach emptying. So that can help you, if you're having digestive problems, you can get things out of your stomach faster with that. And the inulin, 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 I say that specifically because it's so close to the word insulin. Inulin, that's a fiber in the dandelion root. And we talked about it being a prebiotic. Well, it's also shown to reduce constipation. So if you're having a trouble with your stomach and the food is not moving, dandelion root would be a thing for you to try. And it said, I did read where it says like 3 grams of fiber per cooked cup, but you don't need that much.
Oh my God.
No, you just need a teaspoon, and you can up your fiber intake.
My gosh, that would really clean you out.
Yeah, you don't need that. You don't need a whole cup. I'm just saying that's how they were telling us how much fiber there is. It can also improve your liver and gallbladder function. So it's said to reduce the levels of excess fat that's stored in the liver.
That's really important. Do you know how much fatty liver we have? How many problems with fatty liver we have in this country because of all the fast food and everything?
Yeah, and they actually, there was a study where they injected rats with sodium dichromate, which causes liver injury. And then they gave them the dandelion and roots and leaves, and it helped to remove that injury. It helped purify and clear the liver. Of course, I guess it's not done well enough that it can be proven fact. So, but
the thing is that the liver reproduces itself, so there's no reason for anyone to have liver disease and to die from that. There's just not any reason for that. It can be treated, is what I'm saying.
The problem with that is we don't stop putting those bad things into our body. We don't stop drinking the alcohol that's causing it. Some people have fatty liver disease without alcoholism.
That's right.
So it's something else in your diet that's causing it. So a lot of times I tell people, if you're unhappy with this or that, you need to make sure that we can change your diet up. What are you eating? What are your symptoms eating this? And people look at me and go, are you crazy? No, I'm not. I know that anytime my son is not, what do you call that? When they can't tolerate wheat.
Gluten intolerant?
Gluten intolerance. He's just sensitive to the gluten. So what do? We try to eliminate as much gluten as possible. We try to eliminate foods. I make him cookies that have no gluten. Because he's a sweet tooth, just like me. So
when we hang up, I'll tell you a great gluten-free cookie recipe, and it's only got 2 ingredients.
Great. So by reducing the excess fat in the liver, we also reduce the oxidative stress that goes on. So that's another thing that can be facilitated by dandelion. Dandelion, because of the chicoraic and chlorogenic acid, those are 2 very active bioactive compounds in the dandelion. It can help decrease blood sugar levels.
Wow.
So when they did a test tube study, it actually helped to improve the excretion or secretion of insulin that controls blood sugar levels in your blood, as well as sugar absorption into your muscle. So it just has so many different, and the reasons are the different compounds that exist. Like I told you about the antioxidants. Well, this is chicoraic and chlorogenic acid. So that's something totally different than the antioxidants that are in it. And that's the other thing about compounds, herbals, that they have so many different compounds that they can treat many things. And there are many herbs that you have to consider. If I gave you something to help with your blood sugar levels, if I gave you the dandelion and it didn't work for you, then there are other herbs out there that we can try.
But it
So
sounds like dandelion is almost like a miracle drug.
it does sound that way, but it won't work that way for everyone. That's why you need to, if you want to do herbals, you need to find someone that is a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner or an herbalist that knows it or can find out for you. They
Well, that's
know
true of
where
pharmaceuticals though too. Like the women in my mother's side of the family, they can't take statins. It debilitates them. It puts them in their bed. They can't move. They
Mhm.
can't take statins. So genetically, there's something in them that keeps them from taking that. So
Right.
that's just true of anything out there.
Well, my mother and I both have taken statins, and for me, the minute I stand up out of bed, my blood pressure, I guess, is all out of whack with that, and I go
Mhm.
straight down into the floor. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, I can't tolerate this. I can't, there are times when you just have to jump up. So, uh, there's a lot of times when you have insulin sensitivity, and it's said that the chloric, chico, golly, gee whiz, darn,
Sounds like.
chicory and chlorogenic acid can help eliminate um, this sensitivity by digestion of starchy and high carb foods. And a lot of times that's what we crave when we're having problems with our blood sugar, is we want something high, carbs, something starchy,
Mhm.
potatoes, or, so it's said to kind of help with that. It can help digest those things a little bit better. And here's the one we were just talking about. It's said to lower what I call low down lipids, which is the low density lipids, which are not good for you, and increase the HDLs or high density levels, which are good for you. So it doesn't say which compounds, but just that both of the compounds that are there, or that triglyceride and cholesterol levels, are risky factors for heart disease. So the dandelion leaf and the root extract decrease the triglycerides, which is kind of the overall bad fats that accumulate in fat cells. There was a 4-week study that showed that administering dandelion leaf extract. Now, remember, an extract is usually done with either alcohol, probably some alcohol, glycerin, or water. And usually the alcohol or the glycerin can extract the proper constituents from the.
Sign me up for that. I'll take that.
So it significantly, and of course, since I don't have besides, you would be bored by statistics. I don't want to do that, but it significantly reduced cholesterol and triglycerides. So if you cannot tolerate statins, there's always herbs that you can try that can help lower those things. And adjusting your diet is one of those.
Yeah, I don't think people really think about this, but diet is what you eat is just really a form of medical treatment. It's about getting the nutrition and the compounds and all the things that we need to be healthy into our system. And it's been turned into a a festival, an orgy when we eat instead of how good is instead of it how good is it for you, how good does it taste,
Well, right, because we're driven by taste. How does it smell? How does it taste? And that we've been consumed by things that have high fat and high sugar, and it appeals to us. So,
well, that's indicative of a very wealthy culture too, because
well, it is.
most don't have that freedom. They don't have that opportunity and
It
that freedom
is.
to do that. And they
But
have to eat what's available to them, you
I
know?
have fibromyalgia, and one of the things I found out with that is that nightshade plants, which are tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, there may be others, but those three are the high ones. And since I never ate eggplant, I didn't have a problem. But the other two, I just took it out of my diet. I do not take pain medications for my fibromyalgia anymore.
I
And
reduce stress for mine.
unless it's an occasional ibuprofen or something. I mean,
Yeah.
I was taking tramadol and Lyrica,
Yeah.
and I mean, I was drugged all the time, and it just wasn't working for me.
Okay, and
So,
none of those worked for my fibromyalgia. None of them. None of them.
so the only thing that truly helped was to change my diet. And I don't eat those things. And if I do decide to have a big bowl of mashed potatoes, I'm going to suffer because of it. And I know that.
Well, what's really interesting is that, you know what, I did finally find that helped my fibromyalgia pain. And I actually think that it's cured a lot of it. And you're just going to laugh. But I swear to you that because this is the only thing I ever did differently. Pure aspirin, just regular
I can see that.
aspirin, you
Yeah.
know? And aspirin, I can take ibuprofen, nothing. I can take, don't even give me Tylenol. You're just wasting our time. Tylenol does nothing for me. But I can take an aspirin or I can take 2 or 3 and my whole world improves.
Well,
But
you know, aspirin is another thing we got from trees.
exactly. I mean, that's one of the most natural, and they don't even know why it works. They have no idea why aspirin
No.
works. No idea.
Just be sure that you take a coated aspirin so it doesn't bother your stomach.
Oh, see, but I have to take uncoated because of my condition, because otherwise
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
get the
Well, you're
benefit of it.
different.
I am
You're-
different. But I can't take Benadryl. Benadryl's supposed to knock you out. Not me. I'm wired for sound, baby. You give me
Oh,
Benadryl,
dear.
and then I just go, 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 and then I fall out like 12 hours later. So people react to things differently. They just do.
So there's several other things about dandelions. It's said to fight inflammation. And the polyphenols in the dandelion is supposed to reduce the inflammation in your body.
I'm
So
buying
just
some.
remember
The
that
minute we wake up, I'm buying some.
inflammation is normal. It's a normal immune system response to injury and infection. However, people that have inflammatory diseases, it becomes a long-term inflammation, which is not good for your body. Then it starts destroying tissue and cells. So that's why if you've had this extended length of time, you want to take this to help reduce the inflammation. The polyphenols. So since I've never taken this as a supplement, I would
You
have to
have it personally?
personally, I've never taken it as a supplement. So I think that you probably would need to, like you say, experiment with the different companies. You may have to experiment with the amount you take. And I would always start with the smallest amount. And then you can always increase it. If you start with a big dose and then come off of it, then you're not really sure where your tolerance is.
Well,
So
I am buying it. I'm not kidding you. The minute we get off this podcast, I am buying it. My body and my gut and my intuition is going ding, 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 ding,
okay,
ding.
there you go.
You
So,
know,
it's also thought that the leaves and the roots in a cream base and put on your skin can help protect you against UVB radiation.
oh, when you said cream base, I was thinking gravy.
No,
Like, oh, this sounds good. What are we doing?
no, you're not going to eat this.
I love
So
a cream gravy.
it really, it's the leaf and the flowers. Did I say root? It's the leaf and the flowers where you were able to extract. The roots didn't do as much as the leaf and the flowers to protect your skin.
Got it. Got it.
Okay. It
He's
may
going, "Ooh, that sounds
also
good."
it may also support healthy bones. Its effect on the bones is that it's a good source of calcium. and vitamin K, which are very important. The potassium's important in bone health. But they have linked the increased intake of the leafy green vegetables. That's any leafy green vegetables that are high in vitamin K, which is potassium. That found to help prevent bone loss. The fiber inulin found in the dandelion root may also support bone health. It suggests that the antioxidants and other in dandelions and other greens play a big role in bone health and protecting against bone loss by decreasing oxidative stress. That's a big thing for our bodies nowadays. In the pollution that we live in, we have high oxidative stress.
Mhm. So basically, what you said so far is that this helps with everything except maybe your orgasm.
Yeah, probably. I doubt it'll help with that, but you never know.
You know, but if you're healthier and you
Hey,
feel
there are
good,
some better herbs like Damiana that I talked about.
oh
Have we
my
talked about
gosh, I knew she's going to say that.
have we talked about that yet?
No,
Damiana?
we're doing it next. And remember,
Okay.
you're going to drink it online. You're going to drink it on the air.
Oh, that's the yeah. Okay. So I can't remember if we talked, but just remember all of these things have come to us through years and centuries of use by herbalists and healers and the medicine men from tribal medicine men.
Well,
Okay.
Here's the thing, though, that gets me. Okay, I know from stories that I've heard from the people in my family that dandelions were a big nutrition thing in the South during the
Mhm,
Civil War.
mhm.
You know, and obviously, while we did not win the war, we did have survival through the war. So it obviously has good nutrition because people were living
Yes.
off that. That's how chicory got to be the coffee of
Yeah.
choice in Louisiana because they couldn't get real coffee and things of that nature. So you say that we haven't had any testing, but I disagree. I think that the years speak for themselves. I think we've had enormous amount of testing and people are just turning a blind eye to it.
Well, the testing I'm talking about being done is any scientific testing. Of course, we've been testing it through the centuries just by taking it. And we've observed of the different things that it helps with. So it's all by observation of healers and natural traditional Chinese medicine.
Right.
So any practitioner of healthcare provider, there are some healthcare providers that really they try to function in both worlds of East and West medicine, which is never a bad thing because there are things in Western medicine that I would not. I mean, when you're talking about treating cancer,
I want
there are
my chemo.
always there are always things to add to it as far as herbals are concerned. But I think Western medicine has had the best luck. I would never just say, well, I'm not going to do that. But
I want my chemo and I want my pot if I have cancer. If you
I'm
can't
going to
get it
do
out,
both. I'm going to
that's what I'm
do,
saying. I want both. I want both.
I'm
I
going to
want
do,
my chemo. I want my doobie. I want
and there's
if you cut
actually,
it out.
there is a cancer center, North American Centers. I don't remember, but it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. One of them is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they practice both Eastern and Western medicine to fight your cancer.
Well,
Okay.
here's something funny too about this, you know, about home remedies and stuff. Used to, you know, now they tell women not to drink alcohol when they're pregnant. Well,
Mm.
you shouldn't do anything in excess. But used to, when you and I were being bred and born, if women were not gaining enough weight in their pregnancy, they would tell them to drink beer so that they would gain more weight during their pregnancy. And also to help them with indigestion, and so that because they didn't want them taking acids and things of that nature.
All right.
So, you know, that's not very scientific, but they did it anyway. And I think it works. I do think it works.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
There are a lot of home remedies that we do. And I recently had a friend that said, my throat hurts so bad. I said, have you gargled with salt water? Oh, no. I said, you should try that.
I use salt for everything, metaphysically, spiritually, emotionally, because I like salty things. So that's a comfort food for me. I use it for healing. Clean those sinuses, clean your throat. Salt's going to take care of it. Salt on the wound's not a bad thing. If you cannot get proper medical care, it hurts like hell, but it's not a bad thing until you can get the proper care.
Because sodium chloride can reduce the bacteria's capsules, and now I'm going microbiology on you. Sorry. Okay, let's talk about, is it safe? Is dandelion generally considered safe?
Oh, just try it. If you don't die, it's fine.
Most people do not have any kind of reaction from touching dandelions, but if you happen to be one of those, don't take it.
Don't take it.
And if you've ever chewed on one of the leaves and got any kind of mouth sores, don't take it. If you're allergic to ragweed, chrysanthemums, marigolds, chamomile, yarrow, daisies, or my favorite, iodine, really, you should not take dandelion.
Oh, I need to take that under consideration then.
Are you allergic to iodine?
No, but I do have fits when there's a lot of yellow dust in the air.
But do you know what pollen it is?
No, I don't. Now, I'm allergic to every green grass that God ever made.
Right.
But
so
again, I don't react to it like I used to, because I believe in metaphysically healing. So I don't have the same reactions.
So I would go outside and find your favorite dandelion, pull a leaf, rinse it off, and chew on it.
Okay, I can do that.
So
if I go into anaphylactic shock, I'll let you know.
Don't call me, call 911. So people with kidney problems, gallbladder problems, or gallstones, they need to be careful taking the dandelion. Although it can detoxify your liver, it might cause problems as it's detoxifying because you already have a problem with that organ.
Also, if you detox too fast, you can get kidney stones, gallstones.
Right.
And those are not.
So if you already have them and you detox too fast, then you're going to add to it. And here's the one that just blew me away. I did not know this. The white sap that comes from the stem is latex.
What?
Yes. If you have any latex allergies, don't take dandelion.
Oh, I have a latex allergy. So why is my body screaming that this is a good thing?
Well, let me say that the latex is mostly in the stem. There's very little in the leaf or the root.
Well, now I'm freaked out.
Well, you should be. That's why I tell people this. You need to try it first, do a little taste test, do a little tea, and you will know if there's any kind of symptoms. You don't want to commit to taking X number of milligrams in by a pill, and then you can't take it out of your body.
Well, let me find a plant and go chew on that stem and see what happens.
Okay, so because dandelion is a diuretic, it may help drugs leave your body faster. So it also interacts with a number of medications that are broken down by your liver because it's a liver detox. So if you're taking prescription medications, you need to talk to your doctor before you take it. Now, just let me say that most doctors may not know this. So it needs to be someone who is an herbalist or a practitioner of Chinese medicine. So here are a few things that you don't want to take, or that may be, there may be an action or a reaction. If you're taking antacids, dandelions may increase the amount of stomach acid, and the antacids may not last as well. If you're taking any kind of blood thinning medications, anticoagulants, or antiplatelet type, it's possible that they may increase your bleeding or risk of bleeding, especially if you're already taking those blood thinners. Aspirin, if you're taking a lot of aspirin, that's for you. Warfarin is also a prescription called Coumadin. So,
Mhm.
and the other one is Plavix, which is clopidogrel, clopidogrel. That's the,
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
yeah, that's the generic name of Plavix. So you need to be careful if you're taking any kind of blood thinners, if you think that you want to drink some dandelion tea, those things can interact. And this is why I do this whole thing. I'm going to tell you what great things it can do, but then I don't want you to negate the fact that you're actually taking prescription medications, which may interact. If you're already taking a diuretic, or if there's a diuretic in your blood pressure medication, the dandelion may cause your body to produce more urine and get rid of more fluid, and that can cause to put you at a risk of electrolyte imbalance, and you don't need that. If you take lithium, it's used to treat bipolar disease. Animal studies have suggested that dandelion may worsen the effects of the lithium.
Well, that just means you would reduce the amount of lithium that they're taking.
Maybe it's really up in the air. It would be better
But the
not to
biggest
take it
problem
all.
with that is that with lithium, you run the chance of dehydration. And since it's a diuretic, then you would have to almost probably double your liquid intake if you're going to do the two
Right.
together.
Right.
That would be a problem.
And I've never known an herb to really interfere with antibiotics, but here it is. Taraxacum mongoliacum. That's a Chinese dandelion. And I guess we'd have to have it tested to know. It can lower the effectiveness of ciprofloxacin, which we also call Cipro. Ciprofloxacin absorbs in your body. So if you take the Chinese dandelion, it could cause it not to be effective at all.
Well, this is
So,
fascinating. It really is.
if you're taking any medications for diabetes, you remember I talked earlier that theoretically dandelion can reduce your blood sugar levels. So if you're taking these medications, then you may have the risk of low blood sugar, which can cause trouble on its own. And because we talked about the liver and the detoxification, it can interact with any medication that is that goes through your liver to be extracted from your bloodstream. There's a lot of medications that are extracted or filtered through your liver. And if you're taking dandelion, then it can cause trouble, either not to be filtered or filtered too fast, or you just have to be real careful. And therefore you would need to know more information about your medication and how it's extracted from your body. Some of it is through kidney, some of it through liver. Just be aware of what it is. What's your medication, what's going on. That complicates just going out willy-nilly and saying, hey, it does this, I'm going to try it. You have to be aware of everything you take over the counter and by prescription. And I know you don't tell your doctor that over-the-counter stuff you take.
I do.
Don't lie to me. The general public doesn't do it. Don't lie to me.
I do. I take, first of all, I am an old woman and I have no medication. I take no medication. The doctor always comes in and goes, yeah, I know you're seeing another doctor on the side because I know you have to be taking other medication because you're so healthy. I'm like, no, I'm not. But when I go in, I have a list that's usually 2 to 3 pages long of what I take, because I even break down what's in my multivitamin by dosage in the multivitamin and take it to him so that it's on my medical record, so that somebody doesn't try to dose me with some kind of bullshit if I go to the hospital from a wreck or whatever. So it's always in my records. But the thing that I have found, and you're absolutely correct to a certain extent, that you should be talking to an herbalist before you do things. But what I have found, because I have taken very little medication in my life, very little, because I can't. Most pharmaceuticals screw me up. I went through 2 knee surgeries with no pain medication, none. Okay. I woke up during my surgeries because they didn't dose me right with my anesthesia. And when I repeated back the conversations that were going on in the operating room, the doctor finally believed me. All right. But when I talked to herbalists before I met you, they didn't know how the herbs interacted with the pharmaceuticals. My doctor to this day still does not know how the pharmaceuticals interact with the herbs. I have to tell him. And
And
they don't get
the
it.
case. You know, there are so many prescription drugs that doctors are responsible for. You can imagine if they tried to figure out everything. That's why you have to be your own advocate as far as prescription goes. If you're
But you
trying
have to be your own researcher too. You talk to the doctor, you find you a great herbalist, but you do your own research, if nothing else, to make questions and go to someone till you get the answers that you need on those questions. Because that's where I talked to a lot of elderly people during COVID when mom was in the hospital so many times. And I'm going to tell you, I knew for a fact after talking to them, a lot of them wound up in the hospital because they were taking crap over the counter and they were getting meds from their doctor, and the two should never have met, ever, ever.
I think you'll find that if you see an herbalist, they're going to know more about the interactions with prescriptions than doctors know about herbs that interact with the prescription.
No, I agree. I agree. But you've got to do your own research and ask enough questions and
That's right.
you've got to be forthcoming with the information so people can help you. You know,
Yeah.
and if you don't take a list of all the over-counter meds and I'm talking about smoking pot, and if you're dropping acid, and if you're
Everything.
microdosing and you're doing shrooms and whatever, you need to tell your medical team
Everything.
everything because they need to know what's going to interact with all of that. Absolutely.
So because dandelion is available in capsules, extracts, and tincture forms, there's no true clear guidelines as how to take it, but they did suggest some, like if you're doing fresh leaves, 4 to 10 grams a day. Dried leaves, the same, 4 to 10 grams a day. If you're doing a leaf tincture, that's going to be where you put the leaves in some sort of alcohol and extract the constituents. So you're about 2 to 5 mils 3 times a day. That's not a lot. If you take the fresh juice, that's the leaves and water, 5 mils twice a day. And if you're doing a fluid extract, that would be where you would just soak the leaves or the roots in water. It's 5 to 10 mils a day. So if you take
Well,
the
I'm
fresh,
going to go find a plant. I'm going to go find me a plant. I'm going to rub it on my skin first. I'm going to wash it first. I'm
yeah,
going to wash it first. I'm going to rub it on my hand first. And then I'm going to rub it on my inner arm and my inner thigh. And, and see if there's any reaction. And then I'm going to chew on it, but I'm not going to swallow it and see if there's any reaction. Because you've given me some things to think about. But something in me says this is the herb I need to add. Now, I take a buttload of herbs. So the adding one does not really sound great to me. But I might be able to eliminate some that I'm taking if I add this one.
So if you do the fresh roots, it's 2 to 8 grams a day. And the dried powder.
I'm going to Amazon, honey. I'm going to Amazon. And
the dried powder, remember, is what's in the capsules. You're talking 250 to 1,000 milligrams 4 times a day. So you can actually take more of that than some of the others.
I have a system on Amazon. They have to have over 1,000 reviews minimum. 1,000. I like to find things that have 10,000. It has to have more than 4 stars. And then I have to look at the most recent reviews, and the most recent reviews have to be 85% positive.
So the other thing is we did not read the FDA disclosure. And the main
I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yes, you forgot. So that's okay.
And I need you to send that to me so I can put it when I post the video.
Just be careful. You know, that's why I'm telling you how good it is.
It's not the FDA disclosure.
The FDA disclosure says these products have not been tested. So you need to take it with that thought in mind, that they have not been tested.
Take it at your own risk, and we're not responsible if you're dumb enough to try it without doing the proper research. There's your disclosure.
The other point is that herbalists or practitioners of herbs do not diagnose. They can, if you know what your symptoms are and you need help with those symptoms, we can certainly suggest something for you to try. But we do not diagnose. We are not doctors.
You can call me though, and I'll tell you if you're crazy or not.
I wouldn't go with that either.
Really? How wrong am I with you? Talk to
Yeah,
the hand.
she knows I'm crazy.
She is crazy. Crazy.
So somebody
Crazy.
told me this week that I was crazy, and I went, "You didn't know that? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You've
Takes one to
known me
know
for
one.
you've known me for only over 2 years. What? How did you miss that?"
Takes one to know one. Da, 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 da.
Okay, so yeah, dandelion's a great thing, and if I haven't talked about Damiana yet, I need to make
We're gonna
that.
do this. All right, wait a minute. I gotta prep them. She's gonna talk about this thing, and it is like a love drug. Okay. And you can make a love potion with it. And she's gonna make the love potion online, and then she's gonna drink it. Now, here's the problem with this, okay? So many problems. But the big problem is that if she's looking at me and she's drinking the love potion, guess who she's gonna fall in love with?
That would be a no.
Yeah, well, then it doesn't work. So it proves my point, which I said it won't work. So, but if it does work, we're both screwed, but not
You're supposed to drink this with someone you're in love with. It's supposed to help with that breaking the ice thing.
oh, she loves me. We're in so much trouble.
So, I have great fun with herbs, and I love to make things for people that are proven to help, like the elderberry syrups help with any colds or flus or anything. And I've made the throat spray. I've been using my throat spray because my allergies are so bad. Oh yes, and I make some metaphysical things, like Deborah uses her, as she calls it, bitch be gone.
It is, and it works. Do you see any other bitch in here but me? Okay.
It's a clearing spray for negative energies, whether they're living or dead.
And do you see any other energies in here either? Do you even see any dark matter? No.
So there's lots of things I do, and you can find those at www.herbalu, that's HERBAL-LU.com. And my email's on there, and I think there's a little form you can fill out to contact me. But I think my
she never
telephone
knows
number's
what's on our website. You should look at it. It's interesting.
my telephone number's on there too.
And if you just all else fails, email me DeborahColleenRose@gmail.com and I'll get it to her. All right, we're looking forward to doing our next show, and stay tuned, and also look for us. We're talking again, watch out. And we have a new co-host that's joined us, and it's getting raunchy. We tried to be really serious, and it's didn't last long.
It lasted 2 whole sessions.
Well, no, it was longer than that, but anyway, you're going to be shocked when you hear next week. So anyway, tell them goodbye, sweetie.
Goodbye, and I hope you learned something about dandelions.
Me too. Bye, y'all.